Let's talk about remote service again. I think, earlier in the summer when I was broaching this subject, I think a lot of people were still expecting that by this time, the plague effect would be lessened. And as it becomes more and more obvious that indeed we are going to be repossessed by this demon, I'm wondering if there isn't more people out there that are suddenly going to have more interest in this remote service possibility. So this weekend, we were able to do a small little 4-person bubble up with one of our daughters and her husband, and she's just recently finishing her red seal in carpentry. In one of my earlier talks, I think I identified that the red seal population might have a more difficult time in finding remote service opportunities than some other groups. And that might still be true, but while I was walking around her house, I could see a lot of possibilities that I hadn't formerly thought of. And that's the whole thing with this remote service thing is I can't have a vision for how that looks in each individual's life without being exposed to what that would look like. So it's really something that each of you needs to look at for yourself with just that open-minded view of what can be done. So let's say in the case of our daughter, she wouldn't have time for this because she's still fully engaged in employment. But let's say let's have an imaginary peer of hers, say somebody graduating in her class that is less fortunate and doesn't have full employment, but they have enough tech that they're watching this video, whatever that might be. Might not be optimum, but it's at least a smartphone or something, or whatever it is. So let's imagine that individual probably had to move back home for the time being. That's completely understandable. So let's look around at what other resources we have. By now, you'll have your own suite of hand tools, and maybe that's all you got. But maybe you're in the trade because your dad was a master carpenter. And perhaps dad can help you out with some tools. Maybe that's not the case. Maybe you had a grandfather that was a master carpenter. Perhaps he's deceased now. But your grandmother mentions that although she hasn't been out there in years, the shop out back was where Grandpa always worked. Maybe that takes a couple of days to clean up and gives you access to higher levels of equipment. And maybe it doesn't. Maybe you don't have any of those things. Maybe you're all on your own and you have the hand tools you've so far accumulated and the work that you've so far done, but you're not doing anything else right now, and you're living at mom's and you have an internet connection, you have whatever device you're watching this on. So what you could be doing 6 to 8 hours a day right now is creating a market for yourself. I'll tell you something that is obvious if you open your eyes and look around. One of the things when you're young, it might see that the Euro minimalist furniture craze has overtaken the world and pushed quality hand-built cabinetry like you want to do completely out of the market. You should come to my house. At one time I had that stuff. You won't find a piece of it there. I wonder how much of it you find at your parents'. That isn't a cultural movement. It isn't a craze. It's something that we do when we're young because we can't afford anything different. The actual market for people's homes still very much gravitates to handmade, handcrafted. So what can you do? Start marketing yourself. Where did you find this video? Like, I don't get paid by any of these platforms to market for them. So, You know, wherever you found this, that's where you should start. Wherever you're most comfortable, that's where you should start. You know, do you need a web page? I don't know if you need a web page. You know, lots of people are doing it through a social media page. But you got a lot of time on your hands, admittedly, if you're not able to get employment. And whether the jewelry boxes say you only got hand tools, and you can get a little bit of nice teak or some other hardwood, and you're gonna start making handmade jewelry boxes. Let's just fantasize that's what's gonna happen. You can get working on that right away in whatever facilities. I mean, you don't need a lot of space to do a project like that. You know, I'm not a red seal carpenter myself, and I'm not a cabinet maker myself, but I know what you would need to do something on that small of a scale. Now, maybe this never makes you into a millionaire and it never becomes how you actually make a living, but you know what happens as things start picking up again and you start trying to get your resume circulated out there? You've created a brand for yourself. And maybe one day that's all you're going to need is your garage and your tools and your brand. But in the meantime, when things do pick up again, that brand might be the thing that gets you the great job you were hoping to get before this demon plague hit. Just some thoughts for people. Just saying. Have a nice day. Thanks for watching.